Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Buena Vista Therapy, where we talk about mental health and supporting and taking care of your mental health. So in today's episode, we are going to talk about the difference between depression and sadness. So have you ever asked yourself, am I depressed or am I actually sad? So let's talk about this for a moment. So maybe you are getting through your day, you're functioning and you're doing what needs to be done, but something feels off. You don't feel like yourself anymore, and things that used to matter don't hit the same. It doesn't feel the same. And you're tired of telling yourself, hey, I should be fine. That's not always the case. So if you've ever asked this question or felt unsure whether what you're feeling is serious enough, then this video is for you, definitely. Because sadness and depression are not the same, they are not the same, but they do overlap. And that's where a lot of confusion and self-doubt comes in. So we're going to today distinguish what's the difference. So this is one of the most common questions people sometimes I get asked, and we're often taught that depression, or sometimes people will get confused. Is it sadness or depression? So let's first distinguish, what depression looks like. Often it's not getting out of bed, crying all the time and not functioning at all. Yes, but many people who are depressed don't look like that. They go to work, they care for others, they smile when needed. So they assume it must be sadness, but they minimize what they're going through, sometimes even for years. What sadness is. So let's start with sadness. So sadness, it's a normal, healthy human emotion. It usually has a trigger, a very clear trigger. It can be a loss, disappointment, stress, can be a number of things, and it comes in waves. It changes with time or circumstances, and sadness is temporary. You allow yourself moments of relief too, and moments of joy. And yes, you might feel low, you may feel teary, you may feel flat, but you can still feel connected with others. You look forward to certain things. Your experience breaks from the heaviness of sadness. So depending on what you do, yes, there can be breaks from sadness. So what is depression? Just in simple terms, because we know with depression, there's a lot of different types of depressions, and I'm not going to get into all of them, but depression isn't just feeling sad all the time. It feels like a weight on your shoulder that never gets lifted, never. Like a fog that changes how everything feels. It's like a drain that affects your energy, your motivation, and your sense of meaning. Depression often shows up as emotional numbness or emptiness, exhaustion, and rest doesn't fix it. No matter how much you rest, it just doesn't fix it. There's a loss of interest in things you used to enjoy, feeling disconnected from yourself or others, a sense of what's the point? And importantly, you don't have to feel sad all the time to be depressed. And many people feel nothing at all, and that can be even more frightening. I understand that. So let's talk about depth, duration, impact. So one of the biggest differences between sadness and depression is how long it lasts and how much it affects your life. So with sadness, your mood shifts depending on what's happening. There are ups, there are downs. You can still access hope or comfort at times. However, though, with depression, the feeling sticks around days, weeks. It doesn't ease even when things improve. It affects how you feel, how you think, how you function. And you might notice, I'm doing everything I should, but I still feel empty. I don't feel joy the way I used to. I'm surviving, not living. So what about when you're high functioning with depression? And this is very, very important. This part is especially important because a lot of people still go to work, they still interact, but there is depression, but you're functioning. So, like I said, People go to work, yes. They care for their family, their kids. They keep commitments, appear fine on the outside, but internally, they're feeling very exhausted. They're running on obligation, not energy. They're pushing through, not feeling okay. And because they're functioning, they often tell themselves, I don't deserve help. Others have it worse. I should just toughen up. That's a big one. High functioning depression is a real thing, and it's often overlooked. It's often overlooked. People think, oh, but you're still going to work. You're still doing all the things that you need to do. You're fine. It's just sadness. No. Especially when you're feeling numb, you're feeling empty and really disconnected too. So let's look at the role, especially when there's guilt. Another clue is, of course, guilt. People experiencing depression often feel guilty for how they feel. And they may think, for example, I have no reason to feel this way. I should be grateful. I'm being dramatic. Sadness doesn't usually come with this level of self-criticism. Depression often turns your mind against you, making you doubt your own experience and minimize your pain. See the difference between both sadness and depression? So your body can also give you clues. So let's look at this for a moment. How to listen to your body. What are the signs? What is depression showing here? So your body often notices before your mind does. So ask yourself, am I constantly tired even after sleeping? Do small talks feel unusually hard? Has my appetite or sleep changed? Do I feel heavy, slowed down, or disconnected? Depression isn't just emotional, it's also physical. And listening to your body can give you valuable information. So definitely pay attention if your sleep patterns have changed. Can you sleep well? Has your appetite changed? Are you eating more or less? So those are the things that you need to pay attention to. Do you have more pain in your body too? Are things more painful, aches and pains? So why, and let's have a look at this. Many people stay stuck in this question sometimes. So am I depressed or just sad? Because acknowledging depression, I understand it can be a little bit scary. It can feel like admitting something is wrong, losing control, failing to cope. No. A lot of people downplay it. They push through it. They keep going until they're burnt out, numb, or completely depleted. So, one of the things you should never ever do if you do have depression, and I feel like this is probably the worst thing you can do, is trying to deal with it alone. Yeah. So, I don't mean you need to be around people in a forced social way. I mean, bring what you're experiencing into the presence of someone that can help. A friend, a colleague, a therapist, someone. You need to understand that depression gets stronger with isolation. It feeds on silence, minimizing, and the belief that I should be able to handle this on my own. No, that's not the way. The moment you say it out loud, whether it's your GP, psychologist, your therapist, or a trusted person, you stop carrying it entirely alone. Let someone help you. Make sense of it. You interrupt the cycle because you're no longer fighting it alone. And here's the part people don't hear enough. You don't have to explain it perfectly. You don't have to know why you feel this way. And you don't have to be at your worst. You just have to let it be seen and heard. That one step, connection instead of isolation, is often the difference between depression quietly deepening and depression starting to loosen its grip. So I want you all to remember something. If you're still functioning, but you feel empty, if you're feeling exhausted and rest doesn't fix it, if joy feels muted and you keep telling yourself, I should be fine, That's not something to brush off. Sadness comes and goes. Depression stays quietly and it changes how everything feels. You don't need to be falling apart to be struggling. And you don't need to hit rock bottom to take yourself seriously. If something feels off, talk to someone. You know, if you feel that something is off, have that conversation. Reach out. Ignoring it just won't go away. So let me know. What is your experience versus sadness and depression? What did you do? Did you reach out? Did you handle it on your own? What was the result? What was the feedback? Because the feedback is super, super important. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. Of course, I always love doing these videos and I always love to share lots of information. If there's a video that you wish for me to do, comment down below. I'd love to know all your thoughts about everything that I've just said. So take care of yourself. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you at the next video. Bye for now.